we doing? Had a little bit of a second win there. Do you like that? Yeah, you got that for free today. Thanks for tuning in live. Coffee with Shine On every Friday right here. Dropping value bombs. What is up? Let's see here. We've got a bunch of Facebook users. Appreciate you. You're always our biggest fan. Do me a favor, StreamYard.com/Facebook, so that I can see who we're talking to, so that Matt can see who he's talking to. That's important. Don't you want to be recognized by Matt? What's up, Facebook user right there? Oh, come on. What's wrong with my clicky, the mouse? There it goes. What's up? Grace is here. That's a Facebook page. We'll take it. Your Tiz, Yeppy. Another Facebook page. I know you, though. We've got Burton here. What is up? Martha, good morning. Facebook user, Shine On changing my life. Yeah, Shine On's pretty awesome like that. Good day, Jovial. How you doing? More Facebook users here. StreamYard.com/Facebook. Think of this. Matt may take a liking to one of your questions or a comment you share, and Matt might go, you know what? I'm going to give this guy my next winning product, or, maybe I'll hook him up with a coupon on some discounted coaching. But if you can't see your name, he can't do that, can he? So StreamYard.com/Facebook. You never know. You never know how you might be cutting yourself short without it. What's up from Chicago? Sajal, good morning. Welcome. Daniel, I'm new in this. What you recommend we starting to watch so I can get started and understand the way it works? First of all, stick around. You need to partake in the Digital Marketers Toast, which is coming up. That will get you on the right track. You'll suddenly, you will be enlightened, right? You will suddenly start having sharper e-commerce and entrepreneurial related thoughts. You will feel motivation. Procrastination will start to go away. You'll feel encouraged. Just stay tuned. The Digital Marketers Toast is something magical. And if you've never experienced it before, get ready. You're about to live. You're about to live. That's the truth. What's up? All right. Love seeing you all every single week. This is probably the best Coffee with Shine On. Definitely this week. Probably this year. If I had to guess, it's probably the best one this year so far, guaranteed. We are going to be talking to Matt Bahe. Matt Bahe did $6 million, over $6 million in Q4 alone. Over 6 million, people. That's a 6 with 6 zeros behind it. He did $240,000 in a single day. That is insane. Those are insane numbers. And if you had asked me a year ago if these kinds of numbers were possible, I probably would have said no, they're not in print on demand. It's unbelievable that he was able to hit those kinds of numbers. To put it in perspective, I did $92,000 on a single day a few years ago, and I had never seen anybody hit those numbers when I did it. And by the way, I'm not like patting myself on the back here. I got super lucky, and a bunch of other things kind of went into play there. Then that got smashed. So my $92,000 day got smashed like 2 years ago by Kirsta. I think Kirsta did $144,000 in a single day, which was it's just nuts to hit those numbers. Well, Matt comes along and he does $244,000 in a single day. I don't even know how many units that is. I think that's like 3,000 units or something. So it's just unreal. So we're going to be talking to Matt. We're going to be diving deep. So if you want to get some golden nuggets, if you want to learn his story, if you want to learn how on earth he hits numbers like that, stay tuned. You are going to love this episode of Coffee with Shine On. I got one more thing to share. I'm going to move on. Matt is a normal dude. He is a normal dude. If you search through our Facebook group for Matt Bahe, you're going to see he has been hanging around in the group for years. And it's taken him time and effort to reach these levels. He's completely normal. Look at us. Look at us on the screen here. We're both wearing plaid. How much more normal could you possibly be, right? So I say that because I want you to feel inspired. I want you to have hope. It's not like Matt is some kind of media buyer extraordinaire. I suppose he is now, but he's put in the time and the effort to get here. He started from normal beginnings, just like the rest of us. I don't know if I should say that if he can do it, you can too. The people may not be too happy with me. Matt is an exceptional student. He put in a ton of work, put in a ton of effort. He's invested in his own education. We're going to get into that too. So all that is coming. I'm going to stop rambling here, but pretty amazing stuff. Mario, POD Plaid Profits. Hell yeah. Course coming at you. The POD Plaid Profits method. There you go. Coming at you soon. Okay, let's go. Do me a favor, like this post. If you're on YouTube, do all the likey, subscribey type of stuff. Drop, emojis on the post, all that stuff. It just tells the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. Okay, swag winners. First up, we got Cindy Schatz here. Cindy Schatz, $667,000 in revenue for 2023. This is incredible. We've known Cindy for a long time. We love Cindy. Cindy has been around in the community, and she's been after this. She's put in lots of time, effort, and energy. Cindy is freaking amazing. So hats off to Cindy. Really appreciate you. Also, Cindy sent almost every Shine On employee a letter in Q4, just reaching out, thanking everybody for their help and their support throughout Q4. So she's a great person too. My advice to new sellers, some not so new too, don't straight out copy word for word any seller or company's messages or designs. Copying is not going to get you very far. It can help you learn the ropes, but you're never going to hit big numbers if you're copying stuff verbatim. The Facebook and everything is too smart. It already knows who the winners are, and it's going to reward those people. To straight out copy word for word a whole phrase, saying, or a design is not legal or ethical. Take a line from one and a line from another, rework it, rewrite it, add your own words, let ChatGPT help you. But don't just steal someone else's work and then be surprised when they file legal action or DMC takedown. The spy tools that help find winners won't help you win if all you're doing is copying. Seeing a bunch of people stealing someone's design or phrase doesn't make it legal. Win the copyright. This is just my advice and hopes to prevent other newbies from being caught by those mistakes. It's not just the risk of being hit with the DMCA. Legitimately, the algorithms are not going to let you push a straight-on copied product as hard as they're going to let the original owner of it. They're smart enough to detect that. So anyway, keep that in mind. Thank you, Cindy. You got some swag coming your way. Rochelle, $715, 14 orders here. I believe this is a month. Yeah, this is a month. Congratulations. Love seeing first sales. I'm in my first year e-commerce. I've enjoyed learning how to navigate through Shine On Site and testing products. Finally starting to get sales. Super exciting. I know this isn't much because there are people making 1K a day, etc. But I know if I don't give up long enough, I'll be there too one day. And that is the message I hope you take away from all of this. If you don't give up for long enough, you will win. If you don't give up for long enough, you'll win. Rochelle, thanks for sharing. You got some swag coming your way. Tasha. According to eRank, I have one product that made page one in Etsy search. I search Etsy on certain keywords from the listing. I was the fourth row down. It's been my main seller. I need more of these. Freaking pumped to get going this year and ready to grow. Yeah, so that's awesome. For those of you that don't know, with Etsy, you're putting listings out there. You're trying to, optimize them for the search engine, and then it kind of takes time for the algorithm to pick them up and to rank. Getting to page one is a huge achievement, especially if you've never done it before. So, Tasha, thanks for sharing this. That's amazing. You got some swag coming your way. Next up, we have Gabriel. I think this is the last one. After returning from a few months hiatus, I set up a new Shopify store, decided to push everything to Etsy. After the shop being open for only 3 days, we got our first sale already, upward and onward. So shop's only open 3 days, got an organic sale. So that means the profit margins on this puppy are looking pretty sweet. Congratulations, Gabriel. That's awesome. For those of you that are kind of wondering like, hey, I thought the Etsy integration was hit. How are people doing this? You have two options. One option, open a Shopify store, install said commerce, connect said commerce to Etsy, and then push products from Shopify through said commerce over to Etsy. That's option one. Option two, which I like, is use Anywhere POD. Go to shineon.anywherepod.com, create an account, and with Anywhere POD, you don't even need a Shopify store. You can create products right inside Anywhere POD and then sync them with Etsy, which is really cool. Anywhere POD is like $29 a month. We've had Chris Meets, the developer of Anywhere POD, on for some interviews. He's a great guy. They have awesome support over there. So go check that out. shineon.anywherepod.com if you want to check that out. All right. If you'd like to get some free swag every single week, we grab 2 to 5 posts from the group. We're looking for testimonials, new milestones being hit, wins that you're celebrating, or value posts. We'll randomly select those. And if you get featured, you got some swag coming your way. We have a swag store. Go to shineonmerch.com if you want to check it out. It's tons of really cool stuff in our fun and awesome brand. We even have a Digital Marketers Toast mug that you should add to your collection, if I do say so myself. All right, latest news. Good stuff here. The Energy Shot winner from last week was Joshua Shope. He gets $50 in Shine Cash. Congratulations, congratulations, Josh. All right. Also, over Christmas, if anybody saw our post over Christmas, we released a new product, print on demand, Tesla Cybertrucks. Go check out that post if you want to see it. Coming soon. Incredible profit margins. Anyway, if you shared that post, you had a chance of winning $1,000 in Shine Cash. Well, we finally selected our winner. It's going to Craig Joseph. Congratulations, Craig. Appreciate you participating in our humor over the Christmas break. It was fun putting that post together. The team was excited about. Hopefully everybody saw the Christmas video we put out with it. $1,000 in Shine Cash coming your way. Great job, Craig. Is Craig here? Craig, if you are watching today, you should make a comment so we can all congratulate you in person. All right, we got a new upsell available. By the way, I'm flying through this because I'm trying to get to Matt here. I'm trying to get to the good stuff. Hey, here's Craig. Everybody, do me a favor. Get some hand emojis in the chat for Craig. Let's congratulate him on his $1,000 in Shine Cash. Shine Cash can be used towards the base cost of units. So he's basically got $1,000 and $1,000 worth of no base cost. Did I say that right? You all know what I mean. Congratulations. Really appreciate you. Thanks for participating in our fun here. I hope you all liked the Cybertruck post. That was something we were sitting on for a while, and we had more than a few chuckles internally about it. So, all right, yeah, congrats. All right, let's talk about the upsell. So here's a new upsell just in time for Valentine's Day. If you plan to scale for Valentine's Day, you're going to want to pay attention. We have this, it's a paper bouquet that can sell. It will complement jewelry items amazingly. It'll complement the acrylic items as well. It costs $5 base cost, and you can sell this for at least $20. Now, I say at least because there is examples of this product selling for more than that in some other places. So we were kind of inspired. So it's $5 to you. We recommend selling it for $20. You can sell it for $15 if you want. You can have $10 to $15 profit on every order that this is added to. Think how complimentary this is to a jewelry piece. Think of, it's Valentine's Day. Flowers are kind of a must for Valentine's Day. This is a great kind of new, unique alternative that you can sell with the jewelry. And I guarantee this will have a high take rate because a lot of men, and I don't want to speak for all men, but we like to do our shopping in one place and to be able to just kind of check out online, one seamless experience. You get the jewelry item, go ahead and get the flowers knocked out too while you're at it. That is pretty awesome. So it's $20. It's cheaper than an actual bouquet. If you want to get an actual bouquet delivered, you're looking at like $35 to $50, depending on what you pick out. So this is a really cool upsell. So this should be live inside of the catalog now, I believe. Anybody from the team that's on, don't let me state that incorrectly. But it's only available to Empire Builder people. It's an exclusive Empire Builder upsell. So if you want to take advantage of this, you're going to have to be on the Empire Builder plan, which you should be anyway, because you get $4 off on all the units, which is a no-brainer. All right. So anyway, we're really excited about this one. We have a bunch of new products coming at the end. I think at the end of this month, maybe sooner than that. A bunch of new products. So if you've been looking for some new products to sell, stay tuned. We're really excited about those. Do me a favor. If you like what we do for you every single week, leave us a review on the app. I can't tell you how much we appreciate the app reviews. In about a year, we went from 0 to almost 1,000 reviews on the app. And we couldn't have done that without you. Printify is sitting at about, I think they're at 2,100 maybe less than that. It might be at like 1,900 reviews, and Printful's at like 4,000. We want to overtake Printify in 2024. That's kind of a goal here. We are constantly, battling it out with those guys for the search engine rankings. I'm taunting Printify on the regular that we're going to permanently displace them very soon. I thought we had done that because back in like October, we were number 2. It was Printful, Shine On, Printify, and it was like that for like 60 days, and then we slipped. So anyway, coming back for you, Printify. Don't get comfortable. You will soon be in number 3, number 4, and then hopefully on like page 2 or 3 before you know it in the search engine rankings. We love you, but just know we're coming for you. Anyway, so this is a call to all of you. Don't let my taunts be in vain. Please go to apps.shopify.com, search for our app, and leave us a review. You can hit this link right here too. All right, if you ever take vacation or which you shouldn't around the holiday period. The only time vacations are allowed at Shine On are June and July. That is it. If you want to take a vacation, it's a summer vacation. The rest of the time, butts in the seat, start pushing towards your goal. If you do take some time off, though, and you need to get caught up, right at the top of the Facebook group, there's a little featured tab. Anything we've deemed announcement worthy is going to be located right there. All right. Are you guys ready for Matt? You ready for Matt? Let's what's a good emoji? What's a good Matt emoji? Trying to think of, is there a frozen fish for like ice fishing? Let's see here. Because Matt is in Minnesota, for those of you that don't know. Let's see something fishing related. Let's get a fishing emoji in the chat. I'll take a frozen fish. If there's a frozen fish emoji, I'll take penguins. I'll take icebergs or glaciers. Let's see what you got. If you're ready for Matt to come on board, I want to see a waterfall of frozen emoji goodness in the chat. We've got a block of ice. I'll take it, or an ice cube rather. We've got a fish and a fishing pole. I like that one. We've got a little dude freezing to death. That one works. A penguin. There we go. This one's pretty clever. We got a whole assortment of fish, though I don't think these Finding Nemo guys are in Minnesota. I could be wrong about that. Does Minnesota have saltwater beachfront property anywhere? Who knows? All right. All right, let's get into this. Let me get Matt on. Matt, you ready? Give me a thumbs up. What is up, my brother?
What's up, man?
How you doing?
Good.
Welcome to the party.
Sleeping emoji as well.
Which one?
Yeah, sleeping one with the Z's coming up.
Yeah, we're going to get into that. We're going to get into how much work you have actually put in to make your dreams a reality here. I think it'll be good for everybody to hear. Anyway, hopefully it'll be motivating and inspiring to people too. Hey, you're in Minnesota. I have to ask. I've been dying to ask this. Do you do any ice fishing or anything like that?
Yeah,
really?
Not as much this year. It hasn't been as cold, so the ice isn't thick. It's kind of dangerous out there, but yeah, when it allows us to, we do.
Do you have snow on the ground right now?
No
snow.
We had snow for Halloween. That was about it.
Wow, what's the temperature?
30s. So
why do I think in my head? Why do I have this perception that Minnesota is like freaking Alaska or something?
It is. It's like a very rare year. It's weird.
Okay, you're just having a mild year then.
Yeah, it's a really big oddity.
Have you ever been chased by a bear or anything like that?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
In Minnesota?
There's a folklore in my family that we were posing for a picture, and I was like, there's something in the bushes back there when we were kids. And my dad's like, oh, it's just a squirrel or something. And I'm like, no, Dad, I think there's something down there on this tree. He's like, oh, it's fine. It's just a squirrel. And I turned around and I'm like, it's a bear. And
no way.
I started taking off. And my sister's like, what? Is there really a bear? And I like, get out of the way. Pushed her out of the way. And so
I'll run faster than your sister.
He's like, well, Matt pushed me out of the way. And I'm like, hey, I said bear. If you think maybe I should verify that first, that's on you.
What was it, like a black bear or what?
Yeah, black bear.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy. All right, I want to get into the good stuff. I know people are chomping at the bit to hear your story and learn how you hit these numbers. But first, before we do it, we got to do the digital marketer's toast. I'm not on the screen anymore. Let me get this back up here. All right, for those of you that are new, the Digital Marketer's Toast is magical, all right? It's a dopamine hit that kind of rings around the world. We typically have the Digital Marketer's Toast represented on every single continent except Antarctica. Every time we do one of these, people report feeling tinglies. Watch your phones. Sales come in during the Digital Marketer's Toast. Matt, I'm telling you that Mark Zuckerberg is, he's hovering over the ban account button, the Facebook ban account button on guys like Matt here. And as soon as you take the Digital Marketer's Toast, he relents. Zuckerberg's mercy starts to proliferate throughout the world. It's that powerful. All right. It's that powerful. So if you're new to this, get ready to live. Join me now. Raise up your glasses, mugs, bottles, and flasks. Join me now in the Digital Marketer's Toast. Here's to more conversions, more cash, cheap CPMs, and lower CACs, to higher CTRs, much higher CVRs, to enable ad accounts and big bank accounts, upsells, downsells, and cross-sells, to winning products and repeat sales, to the thing that everybody knows, the riches are in the niches, but also your email flows. You ready, everybody? Cheers.
Salud.
There we go.
No joke.
Right.
I got a sale right then, for real.
Did you?
Yeah.
Hold up your phone. Do you have the notification?
Yeah, but
hang on. Let me get you full screen. Huh?
It shows my store if I do that. So.
Oh yeah. Good call. I'm glad you checked that.
I almost did.
It's Matt just got a sale. Who else got a sale? Let us know in the chat. Anybody get some tinglies? Let us know in the chat. I'm not kidding about the tinglies. I know everybody thinks I'm joking, but seriously, people are getting tinglies. I'm telling you, there's something about it. I don't know what it is. Something spiritual or something. I don't know. I'm not into woo-woo, but we got something pretty cool going on here. All right, Matt, I've got a whole series of screenshots here. I don't know if you saw the screenshots and the slides
Maybe.
Gina put together for you.
Yeah, I did.
But I kind of reviewed them a little bit. I think they're in sequential order. So I think it'd be good if we could just spend a few minutes as we walk through these. I think it'd be good if you could tell your story a little bit, because there are people here that don't know you, right?
Yeah.
And I think it'd be good for them to understand that you're just a normal guy. You've been after this for a long time, and this is just what it looks like when you commit and you go all in towards a goal. So let me pull up the first screenshot here, and I think we can get into that.
Sure.
You cool with this?
Yeah.
All right. So your first $500,000 in revenue. This is from Q4 of 2021. You did 6,300 orders. So this was 2 years ago. Now, How long had you been in e-com before that? Because you go all the way back to like 2014 or 15, right?
Yeah, I'm a dinosaur. I started online with mostly affiliate marketing, did a lot of SEO for years, and it was always like a side gig, just to kind of make some extra money, take some vacations, maybe buy some land, which I ended up doing eventually. But that was just kind of the goal. It was like supplemental income. Got into e-com in 2014, 15, like when Teespring kind of came on the scene. And yeah, continued to sell just basically as a side gig for a number of years. Never really, or cracked a few winners actually. Early on, 2019, I think was my first $1 million kind of event, in terms of like a product that did $1 million, but it wasn't like in one event. It was a Mother's Day product that I sold for Mother's Day all the way through the year. And it was kind of
this was a mug or something, wasn't it?
It was a mug, so the margins are nowhere near what you can get on Shine On. So yeah, that was probably like my first real like kind of breakthrough moment where I started to think, what if I could be more consistent in this and do it better? And oddly enough, I think 2019 was when you had your big hit, and then Ecom Profit Formula came out early that year, and I was one of your first students.
Yeah, so not to get too deep into that, but just so Matt, or just so everybody else can kind of follow along, I had a really big run. I think it was 2019. I think it was right before the pandemic. So you're right. I had a really big run then, and I posted in the Facebook group, and I got like blown up with people just dying for help on how to do stuff. So I made a course called the Ecom Profit Formula. It's still out there. I don't know if you can still buy it or not. My old URL was ecomprofitformula.com. So I had that up, and then Matt and a handful of other people all kind of took it. So that was getting into early 2020. So
I'm pretty sure Kurtha was in there too,
when
by
did
the
you
way.
discover Shine On?
So this is actually kind of funny. I messaged Taz like a while back, and he had written me in 2016.
Wow.
Yeah. I think I had a pretty good shirt run for like an event, and he might have seen it and reached out and said, "Hey, have you ever thought of selling Shine On?" But at that time, it was just like the jewelry that you made. Like there was no message cards or anything like that. It was like the hunting kind of looking
Yeah,
necklace and
yeah, I remember
everything.
these. Yeah.
Yeah. So I looked
Um,
at it, but I was like, I was very much involved in the funny T-shirt, funny mug kind of scene, and so it was hard for me to change gears. Um, but yeah, it was kind of
so
funny.
when did you start with Shine On then proper? Was it 2020?
Yeah, proper was right after I saw your success, and I was like, that was kind of coming off of the mug thing, and I started to think, okay, if I can sell that many mugs, what if that
Oh
even like a
yeah.
fraction of that was jewelry with the margins that you were showing? I'm like, that's a way better deal. If I have to take the same amount of time to sell the same amount of units, relatively, I'm better off selling this product. And after I saw what you were doing, I was like, yep, I'm jumping in. I think Kirsta was in there too. Actually, before he was Kirsta, he was just like a student. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
think
that would have
Kirsta
been like,
really started blowing up. I
yep.
think it was it Mother's Day of 2020 or was it Christmas of 20? He started blowing up around there too. Yeah.
Yeah, he started posting a lot, and that's kind of when he became Kirsta. Um, like
Yeah,
how
and
we,
I when did Mario? And Mario's in the chat here. When did Mario come on the scene? I know Mario was always kind of doing big numbers in different spaces, but I don't recall when he popped into Shine On. I think it was
yeah,
right around that time period.
yeah, he was doing drop shipping first, I believe. And then, I kind of like, didn't really have a lot of success. And I didn't really go all in. I was still dabbling, right? I was still in that very much working my full-time job. I had a couple hours at night. I had a kid at this point. So like, and she was young and she was a preemie. So she was born at 25 weeks. So she was tiny. She was in the hospital for half a year. And
Oh
so
my
it was like
gosh.
all I could do was just to kind of keep this little side hustle alive. And I actually had some dark nights of the soul where I like, the first time I drove the business into almost bankruptcy was during that time when she was in the hospital. But then having her, she became my why of what, if she can go through the struggle she's going through, I can push through like the woes of sales and make this work somehow. And so she was really like my why and my inspiration to make it serious. And so coming up on, when I got with you in that 2020, yeah, basically it wasn't until 2021, actually January of 2021, that I decided to go all in on Shine On for a year and like just cut out all the other crap, cut out trying to do affiliate marketing, drop shipping, crypto, NFTs, whatever, all the little shiny objects. I'm like, nope, if I give it a full year, I should become, either substantially better and successful at it, or the skills I will have acquired will be like able to be used somewhere else. That's going to make that, final breakthrough for me.
I remember you actually talking about how you put blinders on and kind of went
Yeah.
all in on one thing, and you've attributed that kind of
Yes.
mental shift to your success before. I've seen that in some posts you had, and you have some great mindset stuff. So it'll be fun to kind of dig into that as we go to. So all right, so 2020, you're dabbling but distracted, right? Is what
Yep.
it sounds like. 2021, you say I'm going all in on Shine On. You know I remember this. You unsubscribed from a bunch of email newsletters and all this kind of stuff. You put all your chips on the table for Shine On. So tell
Yep.
us about 2021. Also, just for context, Mario is saying he started or he went all in with Shine On in 2021 as well. So,
Yep.
okay, go ahead.
And so I had a few early successes in 2020. It was like, maybe like my first 10K profit month. I was in one of Kirsta's groups early on too, because he started to really have a lot of success. And so I was learning a lot from him. And then Mario just blew everybody away. I think in like Mother's Day of that year, he went on like a tear and he kind of caught my attention. And I was like, oh, I kind of
That's
want
right.
to,
Because didn't he scale with it was Tiffany? Wasn't it
yeah,
Tiffany?
yeah.
Who else? It was Tiffany and then Mario's in the chat. He can fill in the detail, I guess. Let's keep going. But yeah, Mario scaled a few different people during that time frame, and I
Mhm.
remember I think that's when he started coming on these little interviews. I think I had a few of them, few interviews with him in 2021 as well. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, and so I set up just like everybody else does. I set up a call to talk with them, and I think we really connected like right away. I have a lot of background, obviously, in the space, and so does he. And so he was like one of those people, like right away, I could probably just sit there and talk with, and all of a sudden it's like 2 a.m., right? Like we just had so much to say. And, obviously your family members get sick of hearing about it every day. And so to have somebody else that you can actually jam with was pretty awesome. And I joined the EPM group in June of that year, which was 2021. And then the screenshot you're seeing here is the first like 500K run, which was the Q4 following joining.
Yeah. So, and we'll have links to the group here a little bit later. One of the things I kind of want to focus on here real quick is the fact that you're just a normal dude. I mean, like you have during this time, you have a full-time job. You had some health complications with your newborn daughter. So you're a dad too. You're married. So like, you're like kind of a normal family dude dealing with like some of the common stressors that I'm sure many people in this audience deal with. And you were still able to pull this off. Now I need to kind of put out a disclaimer. Your results aren't, typical. You're an exceptional student. You're probably one of our better students, obviously. You really put in the time, the effort, the commitment, but you do go to show what's possible when you put your blinders on and you're committed and you start to develop your skill sets for this kind of thing. So, all right. So this is 2021. You hit $500,000 in profit. Revenue at the end of Q4. What was your plan as you got into 2022?
Yeah. So, when I said that my mindset shifted when I went all in, instead of being like a side hustle, I started, especially with 2020, right? We all went through the pandemic together, and not to get political, but when I started finding out that my job could make me get a vaccination, even if I'm not in the office, I started to realize, holy crap, I got no control of my life, which I always did not like not having control. And so, and then my job just kind of took a turn for the worse. And, I started to feel like they were going to make us come back into the office. And after, not having to do that for so long, I'm like, I do not want to start commuting again. And so I was like, now my shift came from, basically doing it as a side gig to doing it to replace my full-time income. And like this Q4 was what really showed me like, yeah, that's possible. And so that's kind of where my mindset went in. It was like, okay, now let's actually use this momentum to quit the day job and go full time. And it was kind of like that whole like voice in your head that said, if you could do this much part-time, a couple hours a night, how much could you do if you went full time?
So when did you put in your notice? And you made a Facebook post for this too. I remember this.
Yeah.
Do you recall when it was?
Boss, I quit.
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
When was it?
It was like, I think I quit June 16th of 2022. So like the 6 months after this screenshot. And then my like freedom day, my first day of working for myself was June 29th. So wasn't that awesome, long after this. Yeah.
Good for you, man. So we jump in the slides from 2021 to 2023. I don't have any 22 stuff. So tell us about 2022.
2022, I did
revenue and profit.
Yeah, I did 7 figures in 2022 as like for the full year. So it was still kind of finding my footing. The cogs weren't as good as we have now. So I really wasn't able to hammer it as much as I probably could have. And also my skill level probably wasn't really there yet. I was still making mistakes and building overall momentum. And it was basically like a good stepping stone, basically proved my theory that, hey, you can probably do this for a full-time gig and not have to worry about, going back to corporate. And that was kind of like also 2022 was like one of those things where it was scary, right? Because we always tell ourselves, oh, if I didn't have to work in this corporate job, I could make so much more money. I could do way better. And then after taking that jump, it was like, all right, tough guy, prove it. Like I had like that devil on my shoulder, like, they're all right about you. You're going to have to go back and get a job. And so as much as wanting to quit my job was a motivator to actually like make it work, fear of having to go back was a way bigger motivator, like just to keep it going and to take it to that next level and be like diligent in my tasks and everything like that.
So you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. How much runway did you have kind of stored up before you made this leap?
Yeah.
Like how many months could you have survived?
That was a conversation I had with my wife. Like she was the one that like really pushed me to do it. She was like, you have an opportunity. At that time, I also joined Mario as a coach, and she's like, you're never going to have an opportunity to do what you love like this. if you just don't take this opportunity. And no one says it's going to happen again, right? And so we ended up getting about 6 months worth of runway saved, and then just took the jump.
Good for you. Good for you. I forgot you were doing some coaching with Mario too.
Yeah, still am.
I'm sure. Huh?
I mean, I still am doing coaching.
Yeah. For sure. I just meant that I'm sure that was helpful anyway, at least in doing the calculus here.
Yeah. And
so
it was
awesome.
really like, because the reason why we did 6 months and it was June is I said, if I could just get to Q4, I'll be okay. Because like, I know I can make money in Q4. It's that like gap between then and now that's kind of scary. So
yeah, that's awesome. All right. So 2021, 500K, Q4, 2022, you do $1 million, plus $1 million. Then in 2023, and this is where stuff starts going nuts.
Yeah.
You had a really big Mother's Day. You did 500K for Mother's Day. Anything significant you want to share about Mother's Day?
So a lot of people ask, I was reading a couple of the questions just so I could kind of come in more informed about what people want to know about. And one of the questions are like, what's the difference between like the doing what I did for all of Q4 versus Mother's Day, and kind of like the gap. Obviously the days here are much bigger than what you saw in Q4. I think the highest day was like 23,000 in 2021 for Q4. This one, I think the highest was like 67. There's two components of that. One is the momentum of the brand, right? So I had brand assets, or whether that be custom audiences of buyers and people that added to cart. And then obviously I got optimization from Pixel itself on Facebook. And then, so that's like one piece, is the assets that were being built to actually build the brand and stack them on each other to be more effective. And then number two was my skill set was improving. I basically was able to automate a lot of the stuff for ad management, which allowed me to have more confidence that I wasn't going to get like subjective and when I would turn things off, because, even though I'm an accountant and I'm conservative, or I'm an ex-accountant recovering. I still get like that, like hopium, as Mario calls it, where I'm like, well, I know it's not good, doing very well right now, but it might turn around. It did good yesterday. As long as I'm running it like manually, that's always a threat. My hopium is always going to like make me want to touch that, mouse and like, don't turn it off. But when I started to like really come up with rules that were good for my business and the ads I'm running, I was able to be a lot more objective. And then what I was really focused on is almost like a day trading mentality. Like some days it might not be there. The competition might be too heavy. You just might have gotten off on a bad foot that day. This from, like your IM algorithm. Sometimes you have to cut a lot more feverishly than you'd like to, but it's about preserving that downside, right? And so I was being more automated. What's that?
Yeah, sorry, it's about locking in profits and then minimizing the downside. Yeah.
Yep. And then on the flip side, on the days that I had when you could wake up and see, like the fates are on your side today, it was having that aggression that you need to take advantage of it and push it as far as you can, relatively comfortably.
We're going to get into the scaling method, so don't go too deep into it yet. But I'm digging that. So I have a question. So I think we've just seen what. So you scaled here, you scaled again in 22, and then you scaled again in 23. Are these? I'm sure people are asking. Are these different products, or is it the same product? Is it the same phrase, different phrases? What about niche? Is it the same niche, different niche?
So it's variation. It's like the same, like one of the things I saw like early on is like you'd do a product, and like I think we were more open back then because it was such a small community, and like Kirsta would take it and like flip colors or like change like some font or something, and you would think it was tapped out, so you wouldn't care. You're like, oh, I sold $1 million worth, whatever. Then he'd go on and sell 2 million more, just tweaking some little thing.
I low key regret how open I was on some things in the past.
But and so I think like,
but the truth is, if Kirsta hadn't done that,
right,
like I didn't know that by these small like design tweaks, you could basically reinvigorate the product. So if he hadn't done that, I never would have known. So
yeah, it's pretty awesome. Anna Beck talks about it a lot in regards to Etsy, like the best way to like kind of like prevent copycats is to become your own copycat on Etsy and create like dupes. Like I do that with my own stuff. Like why start fresh when you have this gold nugget? Just polish it up a little bit, put a different like, covering on it, send it out there.
So you're saying that for the scaling we've seen so far anyway, it's some of the essence of what worked for you in the past. You're just kind of you're still riding that. You're just kind of tweaking it, changing subtle things, and kind of reinvigorating the product. Is that the idea?
Or repositioning a quote to a new niche. So like if it was working in one niche and I want to put it in a different niche, usually you have to like rework some of the wording just because it doesn't fit from person to person. So that in effect, you're using the market to help you rewrite it into like a new quote. So it's not like a totally new one. It's basically using that, already that data that you have to kind of like enter in more of like a strategic manner to a new kind of ocean, if you will.
Yeah, that's awesome. And we're going to get more into that too here in a minute. All right. So that brings us to current, I think. So you did $6 million freaking bucks in Q4, which is that is just such a monster run. And if you look at it, it's like 80% of it came after November 10th.
Yeah.
Which is just insane. So tell us a little bit about this. First of all, was it the same method where you were kind of, it's like a variation or repositioning of something that you kind of already knew was working?
Yeah. So like through the process of the first two, I kind of started to like feel like I had more of a brand. And so like, how like all like Louis Vuitton purses look a certain way, kind of, even if they're like different, they still kind of have like the same kind of vibe. Like that's what I kind of started to like live in, and then just take it to like other niches and expand out. And it was primarily a different product than the first two, but kind of still informed by the success of the others to kind of help me develop it. And yeah, I don't know if I answered the question or not. What was the question again?
No, I mean, you did kind of answer it. It's you developed this. I don't want to say sense because it's more objective than that, but like you learned kind of what was working from the previous products that you'd scaled, and you kind of took what worked and you just kind of parlayed it into this success here. So
the other thing is having that volume. This is where people mess up. You do start to become a brand, and you do start to have customers that respond to you. For my customer support people, we have a folder that's just customer recommendations. So whether they post on like an ad or they write us via email, they say, hey, can I get this for this niche? You should take notes of those, because if you start to see a pattern there, a lot of times it's like, that's the first iteration I'm going to do is what people are actually asking for. Or sometimes I'll just have my designer create it and throw it out there and just see if it starts to get like sales, because people will come from the one and be targeted with the other one eventually if they don't buy the first or whatever. You can actually start to like pick up like little nuggets of like sellers that are kind of like auxiliary sellers that might have potential to be a driving seller. I kind of look at, I call products drivers, or people call them winners, but I call them drivers because they drive traffic. So like drivers are the ones you can typically run profitably in like a paid ads space. But then you have a bunch of other ones that get residual sales just because of retargeting. People go there and end up clicking and finding a different product. So you kind of like develop a stable, even if the primary driving product is, basically directing most of the cold traffic.
Yeah. So just to elaborate on that a little bit for anybody that's not following. So what Matt's saying is, you may test a bunch of products, and as a result of all the testing, you're gonna have a bunch of products in your store, right? So you may have 50 different products in your store, and then you hit a winner, and I'm kind of speaking hypothetically here. You hit a winner that works really well with paid ads, right? So what Matt is saying is that winning product is now, that's your driver, right? That's the one you're spending all your ad dollars behind, and it's driving traffic into your store. Now, what you're going to find over time is that some small subset of users may not buy that product. They may browse around in your store and buy a different product. And so Matt's using this terminology of like, you have drivers and then other products. I like heroes and sidekicks. That's kind of the way my mind likes to work on it. But he's just saying you have these primary and secondary type of products, and it's those primary products that are really doing most of the heavy lifting for your store. So anyway, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know where I left off exactly, but sorry, I haven't got a lot of sleep.
You're fine, man. So 6 million. I've got some questions coming. So
yeah, I can kind of set it
bucks.
up a little bit if you want to talk about the 6 million. I just didn't know where you wanted to go. So like we had like basically like whispers that this product was a potential in September. First half, to be honest, sucked. It was like I could not get anything working, but usually it's because of like that recalibration from summer activity for like people to like the school activity. People's lives have to like kind of adjust to that like new rhythm of not having that summer kind of lifestyle, but the very much like the school lifestyle. Second half of September was awesome. Like we probably had this best second half of September that I've ever had in my life, and I was like, oh my god, it's going to be awesome. Q4 is just going to kill. And then and then October came, and it was like bum 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 bum. Like it was just a dog.
Yeah, hang on. What Matt is saying is bum 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 bum. If you look at this freaking chart at scale here, this is like a $10,000 day. Right?
Yeah, I mean it's probably closer to 20, but
yeah. Okay, so you're all bummed out about it, but many people would be exhilarated with a tenth of the numbers that you were hitting. But why? Let me ask you. I want to get in Matt's head here a little bit. How do you start doing 10 or 20 grand a day and think you're not onto something?
Because the progression doesn't hold. So like I was trying to scale it and get the arc, to be able to prove that it could operate at higher levels. You know as well as I do, based on like your fish example, right? Sometimes they're just marlin, they're not whales. And so I started to get that feeling like, oh crap, this one's going to only do, maybe 6 figures or something like that. Maybe it's not strong enough, right? And so I started to feel like now I'm going to have to go back to the drawing board at some of these other ones. Because obviously Q4 is here, right? Where's the huge uptick? You
can see a few peaks here where it looks like you did try to kind of
to push it. I know. One of the comments in the thing was like, oh, it's a fake screenshot because there's no like up and downs. And I'm like, yeah, there's, if you look at it in this view, there's definitely up and downs. You can see like, I can look at it and see exactly where I was trying to push it. You can see early on in October, I was trying to push it. And then I started losing profitability. So I just dialed it back and tried to maintain profitability. And basically my profitability is like 20% is what I'm looking for net. And if it starts to deviate below that, then I think, okay, maybe I'm a little early and I'd rather scale it back a little bit to preserve more of that profit. But it being a goal of like 20%, you can go 25, 30, 35 some days as well. It's just kind of overall, that's where I'm kind of
for sure
gauging.
So, I mean, how many products is this then? Is it
a lot?
One product that you just kind of didn't let go of, or is there a bunch of stuff here?
So the main driver there is one product, but the sales come from a ton of different products. I would say probably like the majority come from the one that I'm driving, but average order value and everything is being complemented by other products that are like add-ons.
Like what percentage of the sales here came from the one product? If you had to throw a dart.
Oh, I'd say probably 75%, maybe.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So roughly 75% of the sales here are from a single product.
Yeah.
And it didn't really get legs until way over here.
Yeah. Right about like November is when it started to like.
Right. So my guess is you every single week, you're probably going through the motions, doing the same things. It was profitable. So you're still messing with it. Mm-hmm. And then I'm guessing your CPAs started to come down right around here. And you started to realize
I'll share a gold nugget that was shared with me. And at the time, I didn't know if I believed it. So I have a high level rep at Facebook who's a great guy. But I always, you always kind of feel like you're being sold something by them because obviously their goal is to make you spend more. And I kind of talked to him and said, we thought it would take off. It's Q4, what's going on? And he said, and this is from him, that the amount of competition has increased because big brands and small brands alike are now starting to push Christmas. but the buyer intent hasn't matched it yet. But they're still looking, they're browsing.
Oh,
And so
yeah.
he said,
Interesting.
I know you're not getting the conversions you'd like, but you are getting traffic and you are positioned in the customer's mind so that when the buyer intent shifts in November, you're going to be able to capitalize because the pool of warm traffic that you can draw from people that know you a little bit
Interesting.
is going to be so much bigger that you're going to be positioned in the market to just dominate. And so that's why I held on. October, don't get me wrong, we made good money as far as like the dollar value, but as a percentage of it, it should have been better, in my opinion. But it was having faith that what he was saying was true, that if we held true to it, it was we were paying for traffic now that we were going to really reap from later.
Yeah. And so you're saying this is where buyer intent really turned on.
Yeah,
And,
that's where, yeah, both the front end and everything back end started to fire up.
what is this? Like probably like November 15th ish. So,
Yep.
probably right around the time people started thinking about Black Friday.
Yeah.
It started.
And keep in mind the other benefit that we had during this period is A/B testing. So we're A/B testing subject lines for abandoned carts. Using Chat GPT makes it so easy, especially at that volume. Even if you're doing 10K days, you can basically test subject lines every single day, and just pick out the winner to like survive the next day. So we're iterating on that. We're also iterating on upsell sequences, so products that people can purchase afterwards.
Yeah.
If
And
chances are,
just for clarity, I mean, that's all stuff for any of the newbies listening. That is all stuff you don't need to be worrying about until you have a driver. And once you find your hero, your driver product, you got some sales coming in, then you can go get fancy with, the abandoned cart split testing and all that other stuff. But Matt here, I mean, he was doing significant volume for a while now, and he kind of knew that this spike was potentially in his future. So he was prepping for it by doing a bunch of testing way back here. Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And, just to kind of echo your point, when you're just doing real small test budgets, you don't have enough data to make decisions. Like if you're only spending $50 a day, it's going to take you a year to have enough instances of people adding to cart to even make it, relevant. Whereas if it's like you pushing traffic, you can basically have that data come back to you daily, and you can iterate much more quickly.
All right, so I want to look at your $240,000 day here, and here's where I think
talk about November though. One more, if you don't mind.
Yeah, no worries.
So you can see I went up and I started to push it really heavily, and it was like right about. I thought I was going to keep on going. Right, I was wishing that I was going to go straight up, and it's just all of a sudden we started having reductions in profitability. Like it just wasn't there. And so we were basically took it back to it was basically the same creative that we'd run the whole time, maybe changing a few like headlines and stuff to make it more holiday specific, but not a lot of like iterations. So in that kind of like choppy downtrend there where it's like, oh, no, it's not. We're actually iterating on creatives themselves to try to find a creative that resonates. Oops. Bottom of that is where we hit on our winning creative for the holiday and floored it. And,
was this all one creative?
Probably like 80% one creative.
Was it an image or video?
Well, okay, it was 80% one video, one image. They were like our outline videos and images.
Which one?
So we had both. So
I imagine you start your testing with images, and then you based on data, you create videos.
Yep.
Now, was this like a video you shot UGC style, or is it carousel, or what?
So I guess we really had two. We had more like UGC style, and then one was more like UGC style from like the perspective of a customer who purchased, so to speak.
Yeah, very cool. And you just made those yourself?
No. Well, I made the ones with just with my phone for a few of them. But the ones that I actually ended up using, I'm hired out.
Okay, so you just paid somebody,
yeah,
to make the video. Okay.
Yep.
And Facebook or TikTok? Sorry, what's the spread here between Facebook and TikTok? Is there any TikTok here at all?
Yes, there's everything there. So at scale, I was doing a lot of cold was coming from Facebook. I started doing TikTok. I had Google, so like Google remarketing, so to kind of capture the traffic, especially from October that had come but never purchased, to kind of keep them in our ecosystem, interacting with other products that they might like, especially since it's a bit more cost effective to remarket than it is to reach cold audience.
Sure.
Did do TikTok and we tried everything. I was even going to try to do Twitter, but I just never got around to it. I'm always looking for those opportunities. I mean, this is not for beginners, obviously, but I'm always looking for opportunities where like big brands like boycott a specific platform. So like if Coca-Cola says they're going to leave Twitter, I'm like, ooh, cheap ad space.
Yeah.
So like I'm always looking for those opportunities as well.
Like what percentage of your sales here is Facebook?
I don't even know. I would say like the majority start there. Whether or not they converted from there, I don't know, to be honest with you.
I guess I'm trying to, I just want to give people a sense of where they need to be focused.
Oh, I mean, Facebook, absolutely. Like nothing. So anything else that we've done wouldn't have worked without Facebook. Like, cause that was where, I mean, initially like in October, it's like 90%, 95% Facebook.
Yeah. You kind of start and finish on Facebook.
Yeah.
Like most of your scale is probably going to come from Facebook. It's still kind of the king of scale, but all this other stuff, TikTok especially, it helps a lot. It helps a lot, but Facebook is kind of the start and the end of it.
And when we started on Facebook, and then to kind of have a presence on the other platforms was more to prevent somebody else from swooping in and like taking our stream of traffic. We have to have a presence there so that we can kind of push would-be copycats out. And so we were doing that as well, because you'll find like leaky holes in your bucket. And so you want to start like basically, filling those buckets up as best you can.
All right, I want to go to your day now. Is that all right?
Yes.
All right. So $242,000 in a single day. What day was this? Well, obviously it was this one, right?
Yeah.
That's freaking insane. All right. So let's get into this. Actually, sorry, everybody. Let's do some macro stuff here. $6 million in Q4. What was profit?
Profit was probably, I gotta think about that, because I know what it is. Oh, is that quarter? Yeah, Q4. So probably around, I think 18% profit.
18%. So you're looking at about $1 million.
Yeah, a little bit more.
Profit. Congratulations. Yeah. That's amazing.
With the caveat that October screwed us a little bit as far as the stats go, because it was like right at around like 10 for most of October. We were operating at a little bit weaker margin just because, like I said, we wanted to capture that market. But everything after that was great. Like even like this, oddly enough, the scaling days are some of the most profitable days we had.
Yeah, I actually don't think that's odd at all. It's that's when the buyer intent is there.
Yeah.
We
were getting 27-30% net on a lot of those days.
Yeah, dude, on my $92,000 day, I think my margin that day was like 33% or something. So that's just when buyer intent, it's when it's flipped on. So, okay, real quick, got a caveat. His results aren't typical. Matt is an exceptional student. He has been at this for a while. He's what you would call an e-com expert probably at this point, but he's also a very normal guy. And it just kind of goes to show what the potential is here with Shina, especially if you invest in yourself, you get the right coaching, all that stuff. We'll talk about that in a minute. Okay, so you did 18% on this whole thing, right? Do you happen to know what your margin was on this day? You said 30%?
I could look. I don't know what day that was, though. Let me look.
It was okay. It's not on here. Looks like, I think it was definitely in December.
Yeah. Give me 1 second.
If I had to guess, maybe December 1st.
That sounds right. Yeah.
You can throw a dart too.
It's loading.
Mr. Accountant over here. I don't need any decimal places, okay? In the answer.
Yeah, it was 22.
22%.
Yeah.
That's nuts, man.
Yeah.
That's nuts. So 50 grand, 45, $50,000 in profit a single day.
That's right.
All right. Now,
Yeah, there's actually
what
there was 2 days there where the one leading up to that, or either before or after that one, where I was like, this is what I made in an entire year as an accountant. And
yeah,
I made it in like 2 days.
that's fun.
That's ridiculous.
So in terms of ad spend then, so obviously you've got COGS that comes out of this. Do you know what your ad spend was in Q4?
Not offhand, to be honest with you, but I would say I don't even have a number exactly.
I bet it's probably at least what, 35 or 40%?
I mean, I know I got like 3.5
Maybe
or 4
more.
million Amex points, so
Yeah.
probably something about it.
And so let's talk about cash flow for a minute, because I know everyone is going to hear, holy cow, he spent, millions of dollars on ads. You didn't have millions of bucks sitting in your bank account just
No.
like waiting for you to buy Facebook ads. So what does, for a newbie, like paint the picture of what it looks like for a newbie when they're starting to scale, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously you're not starting by throwing $10,000 a day at a product. It takes some time to get there. So what does that ramp up look like?
I can give you just on that 242, the ad spend was a little over 100,000.
That's awesome.
So, yeah.
That's
but
fun.
as a newbie, I mean, I started with $500. I had a $500 credit card that was my own, and that's like what I used when I was starting out to try to make it work way back when, and then just kind of iterated from there. As soon as I could, I got the Amex Gold card because it has what is it? It's 2.5 times your first 150,000 spend on any category that you selected. So I selected ads. And so I started using that. And the cool thing about that is you have to pay it off every month. It's not like a credit card. But the limit goes really high. And so, like really quick as you use it. And so that's like primarily, as soon as I got onto that card, I ended up getting the platinum card as well. And I use those primarily because of the rewards. We like this year we're going to Disney World. It's like 100% paid, flying the whole family out first class, staying at the Four Seasons. All that was all Amex miles, so it's all like paid for.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so like that's kind of why I use it. Every vacation we took this year was paid with Amex points, so that's kind of why I've always gone that way. And because they're very generous with their limits, you can build it up really quickly.
So I'm going to share a story, and you just kind of jump in here. When I did my run, like I think my first run I hit like $33,000 in a single day was my biggest day. And I can't remember what that run was. It was like $500,000 or something like that. For everybody here that's listening, I probably spent $150,000 in ads in that run. And I did not have that kind of money sit in my bank account, right? I had like $1,500 that I kind of earmarked for this project, right? And as soon as I started selling, and I was selling profitably, it took me time to kind of get there. When I was selling profitably, the way the cash flow works, you spend your money out on ads, you get sales, it takes a couple days, the cash comes in from the sale, you pay off the credit card, and you kind of start over, right? And it takes time to kind of ramp up. So you may spend $100 on ads one day, you may spend $200 the next day, $250 the next day, $300 the next day, and you're slowly building up your ad spend, and you have this kind of cash flow wheel that's happening in the background where the cash goes out, some of it comes back in, and if 100 goes out, 125 comes back in, and then that goes out, and then 220 comes back in. That goes out, and then 300 comes in. And it's like you're just slowly kind of building up your bankroll here to do your cash flow. Matt did the same thing. You got to understand, he's been kind of in the game for a little bit, and also his growth curve, if I could bring this back on the screen, it started way back here. I mean, you're only looking at Q4. He started way before that on building up kind of that bankroll, but it happens really quick. I mean, when my big run in 2019, I doubled my ad spend literally every single day, just because the market supported it. And I had my cash flow like really dialed in, like I had some tricks and stuff I was doing so that like I could kind of float the time periods when I was running a little tight on cash. And I very quickly went from having a few $1,000s in my bank account to 6 figures in my bank account because of the way that works. So anyway, I'm sharing that because there are a lot of new people here. They've never hit a big winner, and they're like, I don't have a few $1,000,000 to spend on ads, and it doesn't quite work that way. Now, again, Matt's kind of an e-com expert. I'd call myself an expert here, even though that feels weird to say out loud. We've been at this for a number of years, and we've learned the ropes and things like that. So if you're brand new, again, the results aren't typical. Nothing's guaranteed in life. But this is just kind of an example of the success you can have with the right methods and blah, 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 blah. All right. So I have a question for you real quick.
Sure.
In terms of the product, right? And this is I made that Facebook post earlier this week, and there were some questions in the post. I'm kind of drawing from some of that. How important is the product to hitting numbers like this?
I would say it's like at least 90% of it. Like you can have a subpar product and you can try to scale it, and maybe you even can scale it, but you're going to be like a break even, it's like you're trying to put lipstick on a pig. Whereas if you just kind of said, okay, it's not strong enough to your like fishing analogy, maybe it is just a guppy, or maybe it's a little bit bigger than a guppy, where it's going to get some sales, but just not profitably. You can spend all you want, but you're going to be break even. Right. And instead of trying to force it with some kind of fancy ad kung fu, if you just took that product and iterated on it, created some different variations, chances are you're going to come across. So I call that gold dust, right? You have a product that's break even, maybe a little bit loss, maybe a little bit of profit, but nothing stellar. That's finding gold dust. Keep digging there, right? Use that, iterate on that.
And I love that analogy.
You'll have a lot more success iterating on the product. If you get the product right, like I could train my dog to run my ads, because it's just going to be like plus, 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 plus.
This is something it's hard for newbies to understand. Newbies, they will test a product and it fails, and immediately what a lot of people think is they go, oh, it was my ad method. It's shit, right?
Or
and
my ad account. My ad account is too new. I don't have a good pixel.
Yeah, exactly.
Something's wrong with my store. Can you take a look at it?
Yep. They go watch YouTube. They learn all this new stuff, and next thing you know, it's just shiny object syndrome. They're trying all this crazy stuff when really what you said is 100% spot on. It is the product, and most of it is the product. If you can nail a winning product, the rest of the game, it's like playing on easy mode, right? Yep. I need to be careful how I say this, but almost any ad method will scale on a winning product, right? Yes. It's the product that is the driving force behind most of the success. Matt keeps talking about fishing analogies, and the way I like to describe it to people is like, if you're in the ocean and you're fishing, right, and you catch a whale, are you going to know that you caught a whale? Yeah, because you're probably going swimming, right? It's going to take you for a ride. And winning products are the exact same way. Like with a losing product, you constantly feel like you're trying to create momentum for it. With winning products, you constantly feel like you're just trying to catch up. Like you feel like you're missing out on opportunity because the sales are coming in and you're not dialed in enough, right? There's a big difference between the two. You have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that sums it up perfectly.
Let's talk about your scaling method here real quick. So okay, real quick, so I don't confuse everybody. We just said that the ad method is not that important. So I need to caveat that with, when you're doing giant numbers like what you're seeing here, that is when the ad method does become important, right? When you're like the difference between Matt being able to hit, let's say, 100 grand on this day versus being able to hit 240 grand on this day does start to come down to the scaling method. Obviously, without a winning product, the game is off entirely, right? But the type of scaling methods you use will make the difference between, doing 100 grand on this day or 150 grand on this day and doing 242 grand on this day. So can you tell us a little bit about the ad method and kind of what you use to hit those numbers?
Yeah. So one of the things we noticed with the Mother's Day run is that Facebook Shops really became prominent. So we were using, generally speaking, we don't do a lot of high budget auto bid because we don't have control. And just like some days you can know that from Facebook, some days are good and some days are bad. And if you're using auto bid, if the day is bad, you're going to spend your budget. right? And if the day is good, you're going to spend the same. So we wanted a more of a method that allowed us to maximize the best days and minimize the bad days. This goes back to like the day trading mentality, right? Cap your losses and to maximize your gains. So we ran a lot of. We did find though that when they introduced shops, ads in general could be run at a higher budget and not get penalized for being at a higher budget, if that makes sense. Like before they introduced it, once you got like north of $1,000 a day budget for that ad, it would kind of start to like kind of go down on you and like, like fizzle out. We found that when with those, you could get them up to several $1,000s and be fine. So I always use those as kind of like supplements, and also to kind of prove that this product has, true like unicorn potential. But then ultimately, to go to the higher levels, for me, my favorite has always been manual bidding. And so it's kind of like a variation on what you used to call IM algorithm, right? Where you become the algorithm and are turning off ad sets throughout the day based on, if they don't get a sale by X amount, you turn off the ad set, the winners live. And then by the end of the day, you're just running your winners. It's very much like that. It's just in a CBO setup. So we'll have our budget at the campaign level, tons and tons of ads as we build it out. And then we have rules that are set to kill off the losers in any given day. And then, the next day we turn them back on, and it's kind of like a new day. Everybody gets a second chance. And obviously there's more like detail to it than that, but it allows you to, on the days when the traffic turns on you, you can be more aggressive, or you let your rules be more aggressive, and you're going to decrease the amount you're going to spend that day, but you're going to lock in profit at a certain amount. And so that's kind of what that method, Tim Bird's the one that really like popularized it and made it really common. We've just kind of taken it to like new places on our own. Although I say that, and every time I talk to him, he's like, yeah, I call that blah, blah, blah. So I always think I'm coming up with something new, but really it's just like,
whoever can name it, everyone's doing the same stuff, but whoever can name it first.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I have named a few, and so that's interesting. But yeah, so like that's
sorry, let's pause there just for a sec. So for everybody to understand, and it's probably going to be impossible for you to totally get this without seeing it.
Yeah.
But every day, Matt would launch a ton of ads. Like if ads, let's talk about dollars. He's launching potentially hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of ads, but then he's very aggressively turning them off when they don't work. And he's letting his rules do most of the work there. And that's how he's able to minimize his losses. Because if he launched all those ads, all that money, and it wasn't working, he'd spend all that. Facebook would be more than happy to spend all of that by the end of today. But with the method he's using and his rules, he's able to minimize his losses when it's not working. But if it is working, it's go time, right? And he's able to do pedal to the metal and hit really big numbers.
Yeah, and the trick is having the discipline to know I'm not going to spend as much today. I'm not going to make as many sales today, but it's for good reason. I'm obeying my rules that I set before any of this even started in motion, right? And having that ability to say, okay, today is not going to be as my outside day, my crazy day, but I'm going to live to fight to, like tomorrow. So that's like having discipline on that side to realize that not every day is going to be the best day ever. But on the flip side, also having the aggression and the belief that you need to push it when the opportunity is there to basically, we call it surfing your budgets, adding more budget. If Facebook loves you that day, you got to be willing to scale it, because the next day could be a crapper, right? So you want to make money while you can and maximize that good day.
So I want to get into some myths here about scaling a little bit, because, people are probably looking at this number and they're going, geez, man, that must be freaking amazing. They probably have images of you sitting out on some Minnesota beach with underneath an umbrella, drinking martinis or something like that. But or margaritas. What's a beach drink? I don't drink. A pina colada. There you go.
Oh, I love pina coladas.
Yeah, but what is the reality here of being able to scale and hit these kinds of numbers? How many hours were you putting in? How stressful was it? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so basically for that month, I slept about 3 hours a night, roughly. It was really ragged. I'm just talking about like business progression. I talked about
You've been watching Coffee with Michael though, because you're taking some sage advice there.
That's
Sleep
right.
in
Well,
Q1.
that's probably why I'm laying there and I can hear your voice in my head. You might want to sleep a little less. I'm like, I am, Michael. I've only gotten 3 hours. um, but I was highly caffeinated too. That helped. But like I
Dude,
was talking about like the progression of the business where like before it was a side hustle, now it's a replacement of my income. When you talk about like making profit now, I'm kind of at like the next level for myself where it's like now you have this like machine, like this business machine, right? You physically can't operate the entire thing at this level by yourself. So a lot of what I've made is going to be reinvested in making the machine a
building
proper
a
machine
team.
with the right people. And so like that's kind of like where I'm at now. And a big like painful motivator of that was the amount of hours I had to put in during Q4 because like everybody knows like when you get to scale, everything breaks. And going
For
back to
sure.
your cash flow example, I had a talk with Elias. He's in the group back like in September, and I told him like I was planning on doing 4 million in Q4, like that was my goal, right? And obviously I hit it, but I did well beyond it, and so everything that I had planned for was like at that number, and I still underplanned. You can think you have your cash flow covered, and then if it goes better than you expected, like you're outrageously better than you expected, you still run into the same problems or just a few more zeros at the end, but it's the exact same
Yeah.
situations. So it's like when you look at them as like problems, they're really just obstacles. It's like an experience skill set you have to gain. Better to learn those skills with smaller budgets so that when you get to the bigger budgets, you can be like, I've done this before, just numbers on a page. And you can find ways creatively to get around it. And so yeah, that's like what I took
Yeah.
away from it.
Matt said that, when you scale, everything breaks. And really, I think part of what Matt's saying there is like when the sales velocity is low and a problem that you only experience 1 out of every 1,000 sales, you may only have, 2 times in Q1 and Q2. But once you're doing 3,000 units a day, right?
Yeah.
Suddenly the amount of times you experience the same problem starts to increase, and like there are all kinds of residual effects from that.
Yeah.
I'm kind of speaking from just the perspective of seeing the sausage making here at Shine On. It is tough. It is tough to do. It's tough to spend the year going 30 miles an hour, and then just around a few turns, a handful of times a year, you go 130 miles an hour.
Yeah.
It's a wild experience. So anyway, I feel you on that. It's
And
totally
you get bigger problems for sure. The flip side of that is when you're poor, nobody wants you. When you start to make money, everybody loves you. Like Shopify,
Oh
PayPal.
yeah.
They'll all come out with money when you're making money.
Yeah.
Amazon even, like, then you're like the darling, and then all the app people, because you got so much volume going through. Now they want to talk to you. Now they want to know what you're doing. So it's like so many doors open from it, but there are a lot of obstacles that you have to get to. That's why one of the books I recommend is "The Obstacle Is the Way" by Ryan Holiday. Very good for mindset and recognizing things for what they are. They're not out to get you. It's not personal. It's just a challenge that you have to overcome. And on the other side of that is usually like your next level.
So 3 hours of sleep, lots of scaling problems. Anything else related to scaling and the stress and like some of the myths around it?
Yeah, I'd say it's totally awesome.
Is it awesome while you're doing it?
At times. For me, it was so awesome when it was happening, but then like the chickens come home to roost, you realize what you've done.
Yeah.
Literally, like this sounds like a weird analogy, but I used to go on what I'd call like ka-ching walks. So during this time, keep in mind, I'm doing 75 hard for the majority of it, building up to it. So I'm doing 2 workouts a day. One's outside. So in the morning, I'm wearing a weighted vest, and instead of listening to music, I have my phone on audio, and I'm just hearing like ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching.
That's awesome. I love that.
And then like sometimes you get like a double ka-ching. Like back in the day, you get like ka-ching. And then this year I had triples and it would kind of like glitch. It'd be like, it would make this really weird
That's so
noise.
freaking cool, dude.
So I'm like walking by neighbors and my phone's going ka-ching, ka-ching, ka-ching,
Dude,
ka-ching.
that is awesome. I can just imagine you now running, sun's coming up, it's in a fog,
Yeah,
and you've just got your own personal soundtrack while you're
exactly.
jogging along the path.
Yeah.
That's freaking sweet, dude.
Yeah, I mean, it was tough doing it at the same time, but I think so much of it, like I didn't do alcohol that whole time. I ate a diet, worked out twice a day, drank a gallon of water, read
You
10 pages a
have
day.
to, man.
I
Like
was
this, you
cleanest I've ever been.
yeah, well, you can't sleep 3 hours a night, eating junk food and alcohol and smoking or whatever else, man. You wouldn't be able
No,
to do it.
no,
It's
not at all.
so I share this story sometimes when I was on the run I did where I did $92,000 in a single day. I remember like I used a very similar scaling method that you were using where you basically load up just tons of money in ads. I mean, I think my biggest day I had $250,000 worth of ads loaded up. If my rules didn't fire, if my Wi-Fi connection went down, if I lost power, if I slept in past my alarm clock, any number of things happen, and I'm suddenly spending like house money, like really quick, right? And you do that for a bunch of days, end over end, and it's like it is euphoric in a way because you are making tons of sales and you're making lots of money, but there's like this other side of the coin, which is there's this background stress and anxiety that's like always there. And I remember I was doing dishes one time. I don't know why I was doing dishes. I was doing dishes. It was in the evening. I think my wife was putting the kid down or something. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I felt like somebody had like jumped out from around the corner and startled me. You know how like your heart jumps on? I felt that just while I was doing dishes. And I was like, man, what in the hell is that? And I had to kind of pause for a moment. I had to take some like deep breaths and get my heart rate to kind of go down a little bit. And I was like, I think I just had like a mild freaking panic attack over all of this. And like, it was just probably my body and my mind kind of like saying like, hey, we're, as soon as we can here, it'd be nice to like get a little bit of a breather because like we're running in the red over here. And anyway, I share that because like if you've never scaled before, like you just think it's all like butterflies and rainbows, and it's awesome. Like, I don't want to sound like I'm complaining at all. It beats digging ditches for sure. But I'm just saying that like, it's not like you're hanging out in your Lamborghini and you're popping open your laptop at the beach and running your ads. And it's not that. It's a job for sure. It's a job. And a lot of times that job looks like being in an office chair in a room with no windows and staring at screens 16 hours a day or more, right? And constantly, every time you walk away from your screen, constantly like wondering what's going on, right?
Yeah.
So it's a different kind of stress and intensity.
Yeah, I think I told you before, like it's probably the hardest I've worked the last 2 months. I've worked exponentially harder than I ever have in my entire life. but it's worth it. It's what I'd rather be doing this than anything else. Like I know whenever I would complain, I'd be like, oh, it's, I complained early on and Mario was like, would you rather be an accountant right now? And I'm like, nope, back to work.
Yeah, for sure, dude. All right. You're a big mindset guy.
Yeah.
Tell us about, in fact, I will say that whenever you post, I quickly skim it for mindset stuff because I love mindset stuff too. How important is mindset to being able to do this successfully, stay committed, all that stuff? I want to hear from Matt.
Yeah. So like, I mean, you even had a mindset unit in your course. And back then I was a bit younger and a bit naive. And I was like, oh, I don't want this. Just give me the ad kung fu. And then as you develop, you start to realize how it is so important. There's a couple mindset things I would say. Like number one, for me, just having quit my job, my whole life, I was a student. They give you a syllabus. They tell you what to do. Then I went to the corporate world. They give you their policy book. They give you the process. They tell you what to do. Now you're on your own. What do I do? There's no one here to tell me what to do. When do I wake up? How do I schedule things? There's all these different things that like just start to flood your brain. And the most people start out just trying to do everything at once and getting nothing done. And so like that was like a huge like mindset thing for me, was like dealing with that. First, being able to like give myself my own syllabus, right? My own process, be able to establish them for myself, and then eventually becoming the leader and having that process to give to other people is a different mindset than if you like. I started working when I was 14 years old. I used to work at Hardee's, and the joke was I never ate chicken on the bone. So I didn't know what white meat chicken was. And people would come through the drive-thru and ask for all white meat, and I'd be like, looks white, and I just chuck it in, and I didn't last very long. But like, always having that like experience as an employee, it's different being the business owner. There's definitely a shift there. And there's a level of stress, obviously. But one of the things I started doing early on was Headspace is like an app. They got like a free version, but people pay for it as well. I actually have an annual subscription. But like basically before I start my day, I do it's like a 10-minute like breathing exercise. And I used to not like meditation because of what it isn't. Like I thought it was something else than what I actually came to understand it as. And really it's for me when I wake up, especially in moments of scaling. That's why I couldn't sleep. Even if I go to bed and try to get 6, I only get 3 because my mind would not shut off. It's just all these things I should be doing. Is Facebook going to disable my personal account and lock me out of my ad spend, but keep spending, right? All these different like fears. So when I wake up, it's just more intense. All these things pressing. Well, like meditation with Headspace, kind of showed me how to do it in 10 minutes is to like push all that stuff away and just focus on where you are right now. And if you do it, it takes a little while to get good at it. Then it's like almost like all your inputs stop, and now you're able to proactively go grab what you want versus having everything thrusted upon you. And what I really realized this is when I was working out before I did 75 hard, I'd get this like endorphin kind of clarity that I'd get from the gym. And I'm like, man, this is like really cool. I feel like I'm focused. I'm way more productive. I found that when I started to do Headspace, when I went over like their 10-day challenge, I actually was getting that same micro effect that I'd get from going to the gym without going to the gym, in terms of like just being able to kind of pick my inputs and not feeling like I'm overwhelmed. If that makes sense at all. I know it's a little bit out there, but it's true.
No, it makes total sense. I've done it before as well. It's like mindfulness meditation. It for me, it would like your analogy of like you being able to go pick stuff to worry about rather than being bombarded with it is like really great. I always described it to people as like, it was like it created distance between me and that thing. And like, I could, with that distance, with the space that was created, I suddenly had choice in like, do I want to engage with this now? Do I want to react to this now or whatever? Versus, like the normal mode of being, which is like thought, emotion, like almost simultaneously. Right.
Yep.
And it's like you spend your whole day reacting to this like storm of stuff. And by the way, not that I want to get too deep in this, but who knows where thoughts come from, right? It's not like where do they originate from? It's not like you intentionally choose to think about things all the time. Sometimes it's like it's like something blowing through the wind. It's like you just have this thought that comes in from outer space and boom, it's here and it's suddenly demanding your attention. And this mindfulness meditation is like armor for that kind of thing. At least that's
that's exactly where the name comes from. It's headspace, is space between your brain. And
there you go.
Yeah, right. You're developing that space between your emotions. Like the analogy they use in the training is like you're on the side watching your thoughts go by as cars. You don't have to go run out in there, just watch them, right?
Exactly.
And so like when they started to make that analogy, I started to think about that. And then it says, don't get mad if you think of a thought, just recognize it and let it go like a car, right? And so like that really helped a lot. Like a single thing that I've ever done that's really helped is that, especially as obviously scaling and things like that, it can get a little stressful.
So what else?
And then working out.
Working out. What other mindset stuff?
Trying to think.
How do you handle failure and disappointment? And
I read a lot of the stuff on like power of like manifestation. And I didn't believe it until I started to just do it because of like those walks. I'd go on these walks and like visualize certain things. So here's an example. The house I'm in now, it was bigger than our old house and I wanted it. Like I wanted to live in that neighborhood. I drove by it before it was even for sale for like 6 months. So when it became for sale, I knew it was coming on the market before it was even like public, because it had like a coming soon. And so we bought it. And like I literally believe that I manifested that house going on the market and getting it for a great deal, like right before prices went crazy, right? Like if I want, like I've always wanted a Corvette, right? So I'd literally be sitting in my Ford Fusion driving, opening the window in the winter, pretending that it's like the drop top Corvette and I'm driving. So like I'm like feeling how excited I'm going to be and how good it's going to feel that I earned this, and where my business has to be here, and just kind of like living as if it's already happened. Same thing with the money thing, like talking
Were
to
Elias. Were you like waking up in the middle of the night and you're like, I only slept 3 hours tonight. I'm exhausted because I'm crushing it right now.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, very much so. I mean, it's like the opportunity I always wanted. I always kind of like reminding myself, like, you wanted this. This is what you've been working for, training for over a decade. But then like, just one of the things I always tell people is like, we're going into a new year now. I did the same thing when I started my first year. What do you want to do this year? And I've talked about it in the like the free gift that we have for people, but it's like how to set the goal that I set, like the way I set them. And then not only doing it for the full year, but do it for each event. Valentine's Day is coming up. What do you want to do? What do you want to do for sales? And then back that down. I like to take like the overall number, back it down, look at how many days we have to sell. How many units do you have to sell each day? That like completely like allows you to focus on just today and not worry about the big number, because if you take care of those little numbers, the big number is going to come. And it also helps you get really real about what kind of ad spend you're going to have, what kind of budget are you going to have. Being able to like take it from just this grandiose, I want to make $1 million this year, break that. The craziest thing is like with Shine On, a 10K profit month is like what, like 10 sales a day.
That's not very many.
It's tiny. Like anybody could really do it, right? With just a little bit of practice. And so like when you start to break it down into those like really manageable bite-sized pieces, like I think that's where it helps you see it as real versus like, I want to be a millionaire, right?
Okay, we're getting close to wrapping up here. So I have a few more questions. One, do you think you would have been able, let me get this back on the screen here, actually. So this year, we did something we normally don't do at Shine On, or we've never done before, rather, specifically for Q4, which is we introduced price breaks. Now, I will tell you, because I'm here at Shine On, we came to this with quite a bit of consternation because the price of everything has gone up, and we clearly are not making as much money per unit anymore as we used to. There are all kinds of financial efficiencies and optimizations we had to do on our side in order to provide the price breaks that we did. But now with Empire Builder, we were able to get the prices down on our most popular items like Love Knot, Interlocking, Forever Love, Alluring Beauty, etc., to under $10. And I think they were like 14 before. So, I mean, we're talking like huge cuts on our end. Would you have been able to hit these numbers without us lowering the base costs?
Nope, not at all. 100% not at all, especially in the beginning, because I mean, like I said, when I was building it up, my margin was so slim, I would have been losing money, which means I wouldn't have even been able to like continue running ads.
Oh, you're saying back here?
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah, so I would have been like, well, it's not going to work. Turn it off, because I'm not going to spend money every day on like a trend if it's losing. And without that opportunity to kind of like develop that runway, I just don't think I would have had the potential to reach that critical mass that ended up like just taking off like the way it did. Yeah.
So a lot of people didn't like that we introduced the subscription model for the discounts, but I mean, the truth be told, we had to offset some of the loss in some different ways. But I still think we have developed, I'm plugging our subscription model here real quick. I still think we have created one of the best offerings in the print on demand space. I mean, for 87 bucks a month, you get $4 off our most popular units. I mean, it's like 27 sales a month, basically pays for the entire subscription. And it's loaded with a bunch of other stuff like exclusive products, early access to products, the flower bouquet, which I'm sure is going to sell like crazy for Valentine's Day, is exclusive to Empire Builder and a number of other things. So anyway, I'm taking a moment to just plug the value of Empire Builder here. For 87 bucks a month, you get incredible discounts on all of the product sales. You get early access, exclusive products. You get upsells nobody else does. There are a bunch of other features and benefits that are part of it that nobody else has access to. And it's just for 87 bucks a month. So for anybody here that's starting with Shine On, you're inspired by the story, we would appreciate it. Go into Shine On, upgrade to Empire Builder so you can enjoy the full Shine On experience, which includes the upsells, the in-car add-ons, and so on and so forth. Okay.
I would do it just for the cost of goods savings alone, because it's like 20 sales a month, and then you're like ahead of the curve. You've made your money back, and you're making additional money on every additional sale. So
yeah, it's honestly, it's a no-brainer if you're doing any kind
it
of
allows you to control so much more of the auction, right? I mean, you just have a lower cost of goods. Your break-even point is so much lower that you can still afford to make money on that. It's a competitive advantage for anyone that's doing it versus people who aren't.
Yeah. So if you want to sign up for that, just log into your Shine On account. In the bottom left, you should see a little spot you can click on to upgrade to Empire Builder. Also, right in the catalog, we're not ashamed to promote it. As you're looking at the base cost and all the items in the catalog, it'll straight up tell you whether or not or how much you would save rather if you're on Empire Builder, and you can click right there and upgrade too. All right, let's get to this. So Matt, when you quit your job, you started coaching for Mario. I'm sure that you received a ton of coaching for Mario too, especially with these scaling methods. Mario is a big fan of Tim Bird, and Tim Bird's into all these kind of like, I call them hacky scaling methods. That's not really to devalue them. It's just to say that it's like you're doing little things with the way you run your ads that give you slight edges over other ways. That's kind of more what I mean by it. So let's talk about this. Tell us about the Ecom Performance Mastermind. Tell us a little bit about Mario. Tell us about the free gift you have here for us. Feel free to plug away.
Yeah. So there's an interview that Mario did with me at that address. I think you have to put in your email address to get it, to get access to it. But we kind of go a little bit more behind the scenes of my, like journey and like my scaling and things I've learned along the way. I could say like, people talk about coaching. Is it worth it? Is it not? There's a cost associated with it. People always say, I absolutely think that there's a cost of not doing it. Like that's when I went all in, I was tired of wandering around the woods when I could afford to pay a guide to take me there quickly. Shine On's an incredible opportunity. We hope it's here forever, but no one says it's going to be here forever. Now is the time with the AI, revolution that we have now. It's never been easier. There's so many barricades that have been down. I think if you're going to take it seriously, now is absolutely the time. Would I have had some level of success in e-commerce had I not joined Mario? Probably. Would I have quit my job? Absolutely not. Like 100%. So much of my potential now was belief that I first borrowed from him. Like he really, because he'd walked the walk, helped other people walk the walk. He knew with certainty that if I did A, B was going to happen. Whereas I was like, are you sure? I'm not quite sure. And so it was almost like, I was able to borrow from his certainty until I was able to have that track record and results that I can now have my own certainty as well.
Like now you have your own experiential knowledge of what you can do. Where Mario already had that before, and you didn't.
And he's seen every scenario 1,000 times
from his confidence.
Yeah, and he's seen a scenario 1,000 times. Not to mention the other thing that's really valuable about the group, in my opinion, is the mastermind component. There's a lot of 6- and 7-figure sellers in there. Things don't stay the same in Facebook land or any ad platform land. All of a sudden, that one was it 2020 or 2021 when TikTok just came on the scene. People that were there earlier obviously got the jump. Being in like the area where you're talking to other people doing 6 and 7 figures gives you that jump in front of other sellers, or if you're doing it like on your own. I think that basically it is a true demonstration of how 1 + 1 is 3. There's like this mastermind element where we all kind of raise each other up because we have more data points and more experiences, more shared experiences than any one person could ever have. And so like that's absolutely why like it changed my life. I mean, 100% changed my life.
Yeah, look, I can
did.
totally vouch. Look, there's a lot of Shine-On's kind of an interesting animal because it feels like an entire industry is kind of sprung up around Shine-On, and it's all like kind of coaching and courses and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in a way that I don't really think is happening to some of the other print-on-demand companies. Could be totally wrong about that. But I can 100% vouch for Mario and Matt here and the Ecom Performance Mastermind. We've seen many winning students come out of this group, right? So they know what they are doing for sure. Mario is super sharp. He's awesome. Matt here, I've seen Matt grow over the last 2 or 3 years and reach levels that he's just crushing it right now. So I can totally vouch for this. So if you're interested in what these guys have to offer, make sure you go to ecombahe.com. So that's ecombahe.com. I recommend an easier URL next time.
That's my name.
Maybe Ecom Matt would have been better. It's all good. Ecom Matty
I did not choose the URL.
ecombahe.com. If you want to check out what these guys have to offer, this is the Facebook group that they're in, Ecom Performance Mastermind. If you want to go pop into the group, is the group free? You got to pay to be in the group. Yeah, it's because the group is for the mastermind.
Yeah,
so you have to pay to get in it. Right?
There is a free group as well, and then this is the paid group.
Okay, well, start your journey here. Is that what we're saying? ecombahe.com?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, very good. And again, I can totally vouch for these guys. I have no hesitancies. There's some other word here I'm trying to reach for. I can totally vouch for these guys. They're rocking it. I've seen lots of success come from this group. So if you're interested, ecombahe.com to get more from them. Okay. I don't think we're going to do Q&A. I'd love to, but we're running on almost 2 hours here. Yeah. Matt, do you have anything else, like any parting words, wisdom, advice, anything like that you would like to share with everybody?
I mean, my biggest thing is don't quit. Like Cindy I've actually worked with Cindy, who you showed her screenshot one-on-one when she was having, starting out. And we had a lot of late night conversations, man. It wasn't always easy for her. A lot of the coaching, it just comes down to like I said, like giving that belief to them, showing them how to get through, challenges because you've already faced these challenges. And I obviously gave her the words of encouragement. She was persistent and she was the one that had the power to push through it. But at any point in that journey, she could have said that it's not for me. It's a scam. It's not working, whatever. And then just been, off and done, whatever she had done before. She was able to push through it. And now, look where she's at. Everybody that I've worked with has had those dark nights of the soul where you start to doubt yourself. I can honestly tell you that if you just, the best prescription I can give you is just to commit to it for 2024, go all in on it. I guarantee you'll have success. I can't say you're going to make a ton of money, but the person you see on the other side is going to have a skill set that can be used in so many different areas that your worth is going to go up exponentially. Even if you only end up working for somebody else, you might be running ads. You might be like a media buyer, or you might be, any of the number of things that you could be doing with that knowledge. You could sell affiliate products with your ad knowledge, right? There's so many different channels.
I am so glad you said that because this is something I try to communicate to people as well. It's yes, the doing the ecom thing, making the money, it's freaking awesome. Don't get me wrong, but there is so many other ways that you grow when you go down this path. You start to see opportunity. When you start to learn marketing and you understand psychology, you start to understand how you have to create win-wins in order for people to buy in, and that helps you with your marriage. It helps you with your friendships. It helps you with negotiations. It helps you with asking your boss for a raise. You start to understand how to create value, and you become kind of value first in your thinking. So you understand hey, if you want a certain thing, you don't just go beg the universe for it. You create some kind of value that the universe will trade you for that particular thing. There's ad skills that you learn. Like, this is true story. We actually have, what's his name, man? We actually have a merchant in the group that, he had a couple really good runs for us back in 2020. And he is now working for a marketing agency as a media buyer. And I just talked to him like 3 months ago, and he's like, I never would have been able to land this job if I had not had my experience with Shine On and kind of like learning all of that. I'm really happy you kind of tap into this, that like, you may not we can't guarantee money on the other end of it, but if you commit to it for a year, and this is something that you like, an area you want to grow in, you will develop skills and aptitudes that are going to help you for potentially the rest of your life. Right. And like, that's valuable in its own way.
Yep. Absolutely. And I would say it's not the destination, it's that journey. And the journey is because of who you are during the journey. I mean, every kind of like myth, like even like Lord of the Rings, they talk about the hero's journey, right? It's never necessarily the like ultimate destination, but through this process of learning and struggle, they become someone entirely different and like better for it. And so like, that's like what I would see as like the ultimate win. Is at the end of it, you're going to be, so much better off than you were. Like for me, it's like, I know I'll never have to be an accountant again. Right. I'll probably be selling e-commerce stuff, but I could work for any of like the major companies now, writing their ads or whatever, or doing emails. There's so many different skills that you have to learn, or that you hire someone to do that's an expert and then get to learn from their experience. So now you can kind of internalize it and understand it. Just so many opportunities here. And with AI, we're still so early on that the people that learn how to like combine that and use it for maximum efficiency are going to just explode unprecedented levels. And I firmly believe that.
A bunch of years ago, I ran into this concept of non-zero days, and it's a real simple concept. Yep. I really latched onto it. It resonated with me deeply. It's just about every single day, do one thing to get a little closer to your goal. That's it. One thing. It doesn't have to be a big thing. It can be a little thing. It can be reading a paragraph in a book. It can be watching a YouTube video on the thing. It can be making your Shopify account, right? But it's like every single day, one little thing that gets you a little bit closer towards your goal. And if you can if you can embrace this idea of non-zero days, right? Where every day you're going to put a 1 on the board, and you can embrace that idea and you can keep that going. You don't break the train. You never have a 0 day, right? At the end of this year, you don't just go a little bit further. You go exponentially further, because every single day, like the months start to compound on themselves. It's been the whole concept of non-zero was completely transformative for me. In fact, I've thought a handful of times of like maybe making a Facebook group and like actually like kind of building a little bit of a group of people around this idea that need help with that kind of thing. In fact, if you guys are interested in that, shoot me an IM or something. And if I get a lot of responses, maybe I'll do something like that. But this whole idea of non-zero days, it's like, make 24 your year. Don't wait for 2024 to happen. I promise you, you are going to wake up and it is going to be December 31st of 2024. The time will have passed anyway. And you are going to look backwards wishing you had done something different with it. Don't let that be you. The time is going to pass anyway. You may as well happen to life. You may as well take 2024 by the guts and make it into something you want it to be, right? So anyway, sorry, I'm getting amped up and I'm starting to ramble here a little bit.
I love it.
But I'm totally picking up your energy here, man.
Yeah, I like that, man. The one thing I will say also in regards to that, just about not quitting is also, sticking to that process like you were talking about with no 0 days. One of the things you guys did a few years back was the 100-day challenge, where you were doing a design every day for 100 days or like a test. Like, I still live by that, especially going up to an event. People always want to like put up 30 in one day. People always want to go do 30 push-ups one day and then none the rest of the month, right? And they can't figure out why they're not making the progress they want. If you can just commit to a small action that you can like basically achieve every day. So say you do one test a day, do that for an entire year.
Seriously,
I guarantee you're going to be a lot more fruitful than anything else.
People do not realize the absurd, extraordinary success. And I'm not saying profits and money. I'm just saying success. It is just the result of being a little bit better than average for a long period of time. If you can do that consistently, everything else just kind of like will take care of itself. It's just be a little bit better than average, just barely for a long enough period of time, and you're good, right?
Yep.
But it's like, you know, I don't know. We got to wrap this up. I'm starting to get amped up now. I'll take this another hour. So,
Going for a run.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on again. Thanks for sharing your story. If you want more from Matt, ecomba.com. You can also search in the group. We've done a number of interviews with Matt if you want to kind of follow his story. He's also got a bunch of posts. Go friend him on Facebook. He's always posting good stuff. Matt, love you. Rooting for you. I can't wait to see what you do this year.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
All right, everybody. If you don't have a Shine-On account, shineon.com. It takes like 60 seconds to sign up. Until next time, happy selling, everybody. Take care.
Yeah.